Hi, the SI meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Friday, December 6th. Big changes coming to the mid-Atlantic region. Arctic air that has affected the western two-thirds of the nation over the past few days is slowly oozing into the mid-Atlantic region over the next 12 to 24 hours or so. It will set the stage for a wintry event on Sunday. Snow and ice accumulations are quite likely, even along the I-95 corridor in the big city regions of D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, and New York City on Sunday and Sunday evening. Let's take a look at the current surface map, and here's the culprit of all of our problems coming up over the next few days in the mid-Atlantic region. Here is the Arctic cold front that extends right along the East Coast right now. We've talked about this for the past few days, that although it was moving rather steadily from the northwest to the southeast over the last few days, it'll run into upper level winds that are riding parallel to where the front lies this morning in a southwest to northeast fashion. What that will do is cause it to stall out right about in this region right here over the next 6 to 12 hours or so, and wave after wave of low pressure will ride up along that frontal boundary zone over the next couple of days. We have a couple of waves affecting the region right now. One wave of moisture, we'll see this on the radar, is pretty much pulling out of the mid-Atlantic region right now. A second wave will move in this afternoon with steadier rain, and that rain could end as a period of sleet or snow in some of the western and northern suburbs of the big cities late tonight, early tomorrow morning. Don't expect anything serious with that. Maybe a few inches of snow in places like the Poconos, but probably little or no accumulation along the I-95 corridor in the northern western suburbs late tonight, tomorrow morning. But Sunday is a different story. We'll focus in on that in the next few minutes. Well, here's a current radar loop, and again, we've been talking about wave after wave of low pressure riding up along that temperature gradient associated with the slowing down Arctic front. Here's one wave of moisture. This is rainfall, all rainfall right here, kind of moving out of the D.C. and Philly area towards the New York City area. There'll be a lull in the action, perhaps late morning, midday hours in much of the mid-Atlantic region, and then another wave will push steady rain into the region later on this afternoon. That will continue into the overnight hours. And again, colder air will gradually filter in over the next 6 to 12 hours or so. The peak in temperatures has already been reached in D.C. and Philly and New York City, with temperatures in the 50s in many locations early this morning. They will gradually fall through the afternoon, and kind of that fall will kind of accelerate early tonight. And again, by late tonight, well after midnight towards morning, it's possible that this rain winds down as a mixture of sleet or snow in the far northern and western suburbs of the big cities. Little or no accumulation is expected, but there is that possibility late tonight, early tomorrow. Well, let's now focus in on the winter event coming to the Mid-Atlantic region for Sunday. This is looking at the forecast maps from last night's Zero-Z NAM model run, the North American Mesoscale model run. That's a kind of a higher resolution model than the GFS, so it perhaps captures this kind of event a little bit better than the GFS. We have a cold air damming situation setting up. This is the Sunday morning forecast map. Strong Arctic high pressure sitting right here in the northeastern part of the country come Sunday morning. What that allows is for cold air to drain on the eastern side of the Appalachian Mountains, and this cold air is heavy, dense air, so it has trouble dislodging as milder air tries to run up over it initially, and this will occur during Sunday and into Sunday evening. An overrunning event, a cold air damming event. By the way, we have a video on the Meteorology 101 section of the siweather.com website that details exactly what cold air damming is. But notice right here, we've talked about this line frequently. This is known as the freezing, the rain-snow line here, and it kind of represents what's going on throughout the lower part and the middle part of the atmosphere. Way down there in southeastern Virginia come early Sunday morning. Precipitation just about to break out perhaps in the Washington, D.C. area. Let's now jump ahead 12 hours. Now by 12 hours later, that high begins to kind of retreat some to the north and east. That is very important for what should happen. The farther north and east that high goes, the farther north basically the milder air can penetrate from the south and east. By Sunday evening, that rain-snow line is right around the Pennsylvania-Maryland border, the Mason-Dixon line. Precipitation has moved all the way into the New York City region. I expect the timetable will be snow should arrive in the D.C. metro region during the Sunday morning hours. Then it'll mix with and change to sleet and freezing rain during the afternoon hours. There certainly will be tricky road conditions for several hours, as temperatures will be in and around the freezing mark through much of the day on Sunday. A couple of inches of snow and ice possible in the D.C. metro region on Sunday. And pretty much all of that holds true for Philly and New York City as well, although the timetable there will be a little bit later. The snow perhaps arriving in the Philly metro region during the midday to mid-afternoon hours, then mixing with changing to sleet and freezing rain by Sunday night or during Sunday night, finally to rain by Monday morning. And New York City, the precipitation should arrive by early Sunday evening in the form of snow, then mixed with sleet and freezing rain. And again, throughout the I-95 corridor, there can be a couple of inches, up to a couple of inches of snow and ice from this event, Sunday night time frame. Certainly travel conditions will be tricky for a while. By Monday, the milder air wins out, and along the I-95 corridor points to the east. It should be warm enough for plain rain. Not too far to the north and west of the big cities, however. The frozen precipitation could certainly linger on for a longer time period. In places like central Pennsylvania, northeastern Pennsylvania can certainly end up with significant snow and ice from this event. By Monday morning, notice this blue line, this kind of separating line of rain and snow moving all the way to the north of Pennsylvania. So it does advance throughout this event. But again, because the Arctic air is so heavy and dense, it'll have trouble dislodging at the surface. In fact, let's now focus in on the surface temperatures for this upcoming event. Well, here's the NAM model run forecast map for temperatures in the right above the surface level come Sunday morning. We'll again look at 12-hour increments, Sunday morning, Sunday evening, and then Monday morning. Herein lies the big problem. The freezing line is way down here, comes Sunday morning, all the way down into extreme southeastern part of Virginia, and the precipitation is just about to begin. Again, this is a tremendous classic cold air damming setup here where the Arctic air, anchored by a strong high pressure system, filters southward along the eastern side of the Appalachian Mountains. And once that happens, it is hard to dislodge because it is so heavy and so dense. Even though milder air is moving in aloft, it has trouble eroding away that cold air. And again, therein lies the problem for an extended period of at or below freezing temperatures on Sunday. Therefore, an extended period of snow and or ice even in the I-95 corridor on Sunday. Let's now jump ahead 12 hours. Now, by Sunday evening, that freezing line does advance to the north along the Delmarva Peninsula, but still, even at this time, it has still not gone farther north than the D.C. metro region, right around maybe the southeastern side of the district, the freezing line at the surface by Sunday evening, and certainly it will have been precipitating for several hours at this time, perhaps much of the day in the D.C. region and much of the afternoon in Philadelphia. By this time, the precipitation, probably in the form of snow, reaches the New York City region. Now let's jump ahead another 12 hours. And here's the temperature forecast map right near the surface for Monday morning. The freezing line jumps all the way across northern Pennsylvania by this time, just north of the New York City region. Eventually, the milder air does win out. It erodes away that surface, low-level, cold air as that high moves. Initially, remember, it was in this position right here. It kind of moves to the north and east during this event on Sunday and Sunday night, and that allows for the milder air to eventually win out. But again, in the colder interior valleys of central Pennsylvania, northeastern Pennsylvania, that cold air will linger even on the day Monday, and a significant snow and ice event is setting up for those particular areas in central and northeastern Pennsylvania. So now let's take a look at one other model, the Canadian model. We looked at this the other day. But here's the Canadian model forecast for Sunday. This is Sunday morning time frame, and this particular model puts the precipitation type by color, where blue is snow. The reds and pinks represent a mixed bag of sleet, freezing rain, and finally green is for the rainfall. Let's now step through this particular model on an hourly basis beginning early Sunday morning. And here we go. The snow, according to this model, just pushing into the DC metro region Sunday morning, and then it kind of evolves into a changeover to sleet and freezing rain. Again, snow now on the northern end of this, moving into southern part of Pennsylvania as the day progresses. But notice here the pinks now extending up into the southern part of Pennsylvania. Again, this is all mixed precipitation, sleet, freezing rain, and snow now extending up into the northeastern part of Pennsylvania. And some of it breaks out into the heavy form here in the northeastern Pennsylvania, east central part of Pennsylvania as we progress through the day. And that hangs on for several hours perhaps up in the Poconos. Meanwhile, still way down here in the DC metro region as we get into the late Sunday night hours, still in the form of a frozen precipitation type of event. So certainly some accumulations of snow and ice quite likely in this event in DC, Baltimore, Philadelphia, and New York City. Eventually, by Monday, enough milder air should move into the I-95 corridor region so that it forms just plain rain. But just to the north and west on Monday, there certainly can be a lingering of frozen precipitation with a significant ice and snow buildup in those normally colder interior valleys of perhaps in central Pennsylvania and northeastern part where there are higher elevation locations such as in the Poconos. Stay tuned to the SIWeather.com for some more updates later today. That's it for now. I'm the SI meteorologist, Paul Dorian.